On yesterday's video, we talked about the Falcons nearly adding Jaire Alexander, which got me thinking, if they're looking to add to the cornerback position, what would stop them from signing, saying, Jalen Ramsey? So we're going to talk about that on today's episode. I know this is not a new name. We've talked about it plenty of times on the channel, but the past couple of instances have always been us connecting our own dots. And we're still to some level doing that here, but one big dot has been connected for us. And that dot is, do the Falcons want to add a cornerback, right? You and I can assume that, hey, Jalen Ramsey would probably be better than D. Alford in this secondary, but you and I don't know if the Falcons feel that strongly about wanting to add a corner. Well, now that Jeremy Fowler said that the Falcons were, pursuing Jaire Alexander, it's not a big reach to go if they swung and missed on Jaire. What's stopping them from pursuing another veteran corner with a ton of accolades and a better one in Jalen Ramsey? So let's begin by just doing a little bit of background work on Ramsey's situation so you can understand why he's even being discussed. If you don't keep up with it too closely, you might be wondering, why is this guy even in contention? Didn't he just sign a monster contract extension with the Miami Dolphins? And you'd be right. He signed the largest cornerback contract in NFL history in September. Less than 12 months ago, September. And the Dolphins are already ready to move on from him. That's for Dolphins fans to discuss why they want to move on from him. If Falcons fans care about that, it might be because a reason for the move on is maybe they didn't really like his role in the locker room, and you maybe don't want to bring that over to your locker room, but that's from a personal side of things, and I just don't really know enough about that to speak to it. So, put that aside here. Falcons looking for a corner. Ramsey will be available. That's the next thing I want to get to, because the Dolphins have been openly shopping Jalen. I don't think a trade's going to happen. Just like how the Packers were trying to trade Jaire Alexander, and 31 other teams said, nope, we'll wait for you to release him, and then we'll sign him. And that's more or less what happened. So I expect the same result and outcome for Ramsey in Miami, where no team's going to trade for him when they know the Dolphins are going to release him. The only situation where I could see a team opting for the trade over the sign is if they feel like he would never sign with us in free agency. And I don't think that's something the Falcons would have to be concerned about. They've got a leg up on a lot of other teams when it comes to the courtship of what's inevitably going to be the free agent Jalen Ramsey. A little bit more background on Ramsey, and then I'll explain that leg up. Is Ramsey, we talked about why he is in this spot here, but the next question should be, is he still good, right? He's on the wrong side of 30 for a position that requires a lot of agility and quickness and, a ton of elusiveness and speed and all those traits that tend to go when you get older. I still think he can play at a starting level position. Like, he put together his 4th consecutive year of multiple interceptions. He started every single game for the Dolphins last year. So not a lot of durability concerns in my eyes. Sure, in 2023, his first year with the Dolphins, he missed the first third of the season, but started the last 10 games and put together 3 interceptions in that span. So it's an unfortunate injury that happened to him. It was a foot fracture, I believe it was, in training camp of his first year with the Dolphins. But came back halfway through more or less and put together a really strong second half of the season for them. And then last year, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to advertise him as some, stud corner like he was back in Jacksonville and with the Rams, but I still think he is better than majority of the other starting cornerbacks out there. If you had to rank, there's 2 starting corners per team. You've got 32 teams, 64 starting corners. I'm going to say he's in the top 32 of those corners. So with that in mind, we can now kind of bridge over to, after kind of satisfying the why for why Ramsey's available, the question of whether or not he's still any good. Now let's bring the Falcons into the mix here. Does it make sense for Atlanta? I think it makes sense for the Falcons for 2 reasons. One, depth. They are an A.J. Terrell injury away from being kind of fucked. Sorry, Mike Hughes, but yeah, I'm not very confident in the farm system the Falcons have at corner. They have not drafted a cornerback since Clark Phillips out of Utah, and that was in the 2023 NFL draft. Yeah, 2022 actually. It's been a while, but anyway, they've not drafted a corner in a little bit of time here. So I'd like to see them go out and, add some more quality pieces at a cornerstone position like corner, because they are one injury away from really being in a pinch. That's one reason. Another reason why I think it could make sense for the Falcons is, what's the confidence in D. Alford? It can't be very high. They didn't even initially bring him back when free agency came about. They let him test the market. No other team kicked the tires on him. They brought him back because I think they came to the realization of he's our best option. He knows our defense. He wasn't very good last year, but he showed us some really good stuff the season before that. We don't have enough draft capital to invest in cornerback because we have to go after pass rushers. And it's not a great cornerback class. It was good, but not like elite, like the pass rusher position draft class to begin with. So we're kind of stuck here, and he's kind of our best option. And that's the mental and kind of physical gymnastics you go through for signing D. Alford and justifying whether or not he's a good starting player for you. What about Clark Phillips? I mean, if you got to go through all of that to make some sense of D. Alford, imagine what they think of Phillips then if they decided to bring Alford back. If they think of Alford here, Phillips has to be pretty low. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to go, wait a minute, you didn't want Alford, you let him leave, then you decide to bring him back. You had Phillips this whole time. If you had an ounce of confidence in the guy, do you think you'd bring back Alford? I just don't think there's a lot of confidence in either one, which is why I think they explored interest in Alexander with probably the intent of moving Hughes to nickel and putting Alexander and Terrell as your outside corners, which you could do with Ramsey and Terrell. You could also get creative and put Ramsey at safety, but you've drafted a safety now. It's not as pressing as it was a few months ago. I'll let the coaching staff kind of figure out where they want to put their chess pieces. But I know that Ramsey's a good chess piece still. That's for sure. I don't know if he's a rook. I don't know if he's a bishop or what, but he's a good piece. The last thing I'll throw your way as for why it makes sense for the for the Falcons and for Ramsey. If you're Jalen Ramsey, you're a free agent, which I think is going to happen. Let's just jump to that point in this timeline. You want to go somewhere where you can be the best version of yourself to get the most amount of money next March when you're a free agent, especially at his age, when he knows he's got one or two more contracts in him. And I would think that his old buddy, Raheem Morris from the Rams, who got the absolute best out of Jalen Ramsey when they won the Super Bowl together, is probably a good horse to pick to take you to the finish line of really strong 2025 campaign, cash in March of 2026. And it also helps that it's a Southeastern team, right? The guy's from Florida, so it's not very far from home. And it's a competitive contending team. Sure, 8-9 last year, but a lot of upside with Michael Penix going into year 2. I think it's a very good situation for both parties. So if the Falcons really do want to add a corner, when Ramsey becomes available, I want you guys to remember that name. And if you're Ramsey, and you're watching right now, Jalen, think about Atlanta as a pretty good option for you if you want to go somewhere where the coaching staff can really get back to your absolute greatest skill set and lean into your strengths so that in 10 months, when you're a free agent again, instead of signing a 1-year, $5 million contract with Atlanta, you're signing a 2-year, $30 million contract. Seems like a win-win for everyone here. So let me know what you guys think if you would like to see the Falcons sign Jalen Ramsey. I know that earlier we talked about him because it just made sense of, him and Raheem Morris overlapped in LA, but do the Falcons really need a corner? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Well, I think with them kicking the tires and pursuing Alexander, it gives us a pretty good idea as to what they think of their cornerback room, which is they want to improve. And Ramsey would be an improvement.